Well, hey, everybody, it's the Cryptid Huntress. I'm not going to let this glitch get me this time. I tell y'all what, it's so good to see y'all here today. Thank you to all of my moderators, everybody that's in chat today. I've been watching y'all. I see your comments. We have such a fantastic show today. I can't even begin to tell you guys how cool this is going to be today and how fun. Okay, I have my friends Brian, Tseng, and Nigel here. We're going to be discussing benevolent reptilians today, and I actually have Nigel here, who is a reptilian starseed, and I want everybody here today to have an open mind and an open heart because I get messages all the time that we do have benevolent beings here from other planets, from other galaxies to help uplift humanity at this very moment in time. And so we are exploring this today. And I could not be more excited because we actually have someone here that may have some messages for us today. And so I'm going to have a co-host today. Brian Tseng is my very special co-host. Now, before we get started, I would love for you guys to go to my website. That's thecryptidhuntress.com to follow up on all of my shows, all of the events that I'm going to be at publicly, the public ones. Okay. I'm not telling y'all where I'm going to be privately. Okay. But yeah, I'm kidding y'all. I'm going to be at a Bigfoot conference or Bigfoot festival in a couple months, and yeah, I'll keep y'all posted on that. Also, if you'd like to support what I'm doing, I have a Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress over on Patreon. I also have a shop that's called War Woman Goods. I'm actually wearing some jewelry from there today. I love my turquoise, y'all. So I have old, and this is in my shop if anybody's interested. I have very old, beautiful vintage turquoise Native American jewelry and coral and all the healing stones. That's in my shop, y'all. Go check that out. Okay. Well, without further ado, let's get started on this wonderful show. I'm going to introduce my co-host first today because I have my friend Brian Tseng here. And Brian was with me at the 2023 Montauk Adventure Tour up in Montauk, New York. And let me just give you one notable thing about Brian is that his father, Jack Tseng, was the founder and CEO of Tseng Labs Incorporated during the early 1980s and 1990s, and his work revolutionized graphics on the IBM PC side of things when Apple was in the clear lead. He's earned a biochemistry degree from Occidental College in Southern California and volunteer organized for 8 years full time. He worked with doctors and nurses nationally to do medical advocacy based mainly out of the San Fran Bay Area. And I've got Brian here with me today. Brian has become a pretty good friend of mine, y'all. So please help me welcome as my co-host today, my buddy, Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you
Hey.
all. And it's a pleasure to be with you again, Jessica. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome to a glitch in the matrix. This is where I always have a glitch at some point, usually at the very beginning of my show. But this,
It's glitchy.
if this isn't a glitch, it's glitchy, man. I'm glitchy all over, just glitchy. But yeah, we have such a great guest today. We have our friend Nigel Impey here, and I'm going to go ahead and give him a short little introduction here. Nigel Impey is a benevolent reptilian starseed here to help awaken humanity to truth, and he wants to expose corruption and lies. Okay, and Brian, you're the person who introduced me to Nigel. Would you like to help me introduce him a little further before we bring him up?
Yeah. Basically, the way that I found Nigel is Facebook canceled my account after 15 years and so much after certain events, health events. And so I restarted my Facebook after going to Contact in the Desert this year. Well, I started my Facebook before that, but after going to Contact in the Desert this year in Southern California, met a lot of people in the UFO experiencer truther community. And after that, on my new Facebook account, I basically put out the feelers to all the experiencers, abductees, and starseeds out there. And I ran into Nigel. And we began a long discussion and conversation where it became immediately apparent. Yeah, Nigel's for real. He's a reptilian starseed. The vril, not to be confused with the parasitic vril of the, thanks, Big Long Island Bigfoot. Not the vril that put the parasites in your eye that Donald Marshall speaks about online, and not the vril from the Nazis, the vril Damen and the Thule Society, who were sharing spacecraft designs, and that's how the Nazis got their UFOs. These are they're reptilians, but they're benevolent, and they're inner Earth as well as inner skies, and on their own home world and colonies. And with that, Nigel is one of their star seeds. His reptilian name is really Karr, and he's in contact with at least one ship of the Vril that is above us in our skies. And the commander is Garr, and the one of the operations people under Commander Garr is Tar. Okay, and so let's bring Nigel on, or Karr, our friend.
Absolutely. Let's bring Nigel Karr on. And I was just getting a message. I actually have James Rink just sent me a text. He's in contact with Benevolent Reptilian as well. And so welcome to the show, our friend Nigel, aka Karr. Hey, Nigel.
Hey, Jess. Hey, Brian. Good to see you guys. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Good to see you.
I'm a little bit nervous, but hey, So that's it's one of those things where when you're in private chat, it's a whole different ball game to when you're actually speaking in public.
Yes, and that's the thing, Nigel, is I know for the longest time before we met, you've always had concerns and bullying and all these issues, and we've discussed how now it seems like all the starseeds and the contactees, experiencers, and survivors are now coming out of the woodwork, as it were.
Exactly.
And, and part of that, the message, I think the most, speaking for your people as an assistant ambassador, is that, your people want to see us stand up to our deep state or dark state governments of the world and take our own sovereignty and restore the yin yang balance, if you will, to the surface of our planet, just like it is more on the inner Earth. I understand, your people have direct experience of that. Could you maybe speak to conditions on inner Earth, please?
Yeah, it's basically, how to say, like utopian place where everything's beautiful. You've got, believe it or not, there's greenery, there's pure water under there, there's everything that's needed for a sustainable existence.
And I've heard this before, but how does it work? There's is there an inner sun, or is there some sources of light or energy? How does it work down there?
Yeah, basically there is an inner sun and an inner moon, like we have on, like you guys see in the sky. It's basically like a whole planet within a planet.
Okay, now I could envision a sun being at the core of our Earth, but how do you get a moon?
Now that is one secret that I cannot tell.
Okay, so there are going to be secrets, and we understand that.
Not in a negative way, but in a secretive way.
Is there anything else you can say about that?
Yeah, and I have something to say about the moon. That's the one thing that I have gotten pushback from talking about, was my remote viewing of the moon. So there's something to that, Nigel Karr. Yes, something to that, I think.
Yep, there is.
Okay.
And then, Karr, could you tell us a bit about the spacecraft orbiting our Earth that's helping to monitor events here and keep you safe and sound, even though you are acknowledged a targeted individual?
Yeah, what would you like to know?
What's the size of the craft?
I would say it's about the size of the city of London, I would say.
Okay. And then you were talking about how up there on the craft, you have hydroponics and you have farms. So the Vril do eat meat, but it's more farm-raised, sustainable meat. You're not doing human abductions or cattle mutilations. Do you want to speak to, if not the Vril, as reptilians locally, who is doing that?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can you repeat?
We know that your people, since you grow your own food on farms and slaughter it humanely, and you also are also eat vegetables and fruits, okay, like pomegranates and mangoes and bananas now, or now pomegranates. We'll talk about that later. But who are the entities or forces on Earth right now who are doing all these cattle mutilations and even some of the human mutilations? Can you speak to who those forces are?
Yeah, basically the Draco.
Okay. And then is that linked up to what's happening in Peru right now? Can Karr give us a status report? Because we're asking in particular, who are these Peruvian aliens that are scaring the villagers and that they're blaming on miners with jetpacks?
Yeah, that is Draco too.
Those are Draco too. Okay, and I'm going to bring up a website here called theorionlines.com. And the reason why I do that is Jessica here, Cryptid Huntress, just did a show on this. And they showed one of the bodies, unfortunately, of one of the men dragged out of the river. And unfortunately, the way that the face is cut looks exactly like a cattle mutilation. And it looks exactly like what's here in the pictures of, I'm going to pull it up here. Some bodies, unfortunately, it's a corpse, so trigger warning. And then also the fact that Yaltov Pass was maybe similar. So I'm going to look that up. I'm on that website now. Yeah. And anything else?
I can talk on that for just a second. Well, I can talk on the Dyatlov Pass. I actually have remote viewed that. I did 4 separate targets. There was ET involvement with those at least the last 4, I think all of them, but at least the last 4 bodies that were found, they were mutilated like cattle, and there was ET involvement for sure, according to my data. So we're having a lot of this human mutilation going on right now. And so that would be the Draco Reptilians, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
And they are working in conjunction with governments and militaries across the world? Okay.
Can you give us more clarification on that, Karr, as to why they're doing it and which forces in the military are working with these entities?
It's basically as a to put fear into people and to unsettle people, and it's to do with the army side of things.
So
it's to keep control and fear over people.
Exactly.
And that's some of what these bodies look like. These human bodies, they look just like the cattle mutilations.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
And then,
unfortunately.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Are they adrenochrome harvesting?
They're that as well. Yes.
Okay.
We might want to take that down so I don't get in trouble. YouTube.
Yes. Sorry about that. That might make.
Just saying. Sorry. Yeah. Just quick.
Yeah, that was some science fiction imagery that is fake. Don't worry about that, YouTube. It's okay.
It's all fake. Dummies.
Yeah, it's fake.
Okay. Mannequins, right? Okay. Yeah. But it's very serious. Absolutely.
No cattle or animals or anything were harmed during the making of this podcast.
Correct. That's right.
Yes.
And so basically,
what would be the purpose? We have go ahead. Oh, I was going to ask, what would be the purpose? Someone in the chat is asking, what would be the purpose of them cutting their faces and, taking the skin off? Like the ones in Peru, they're called the face peelers, and they are taking people's faces off. And some of them, when I remote viewed them, they are eating people, humans. But I also got that they were ordered to do it, or they were given permission to do that for fear-based purposes, just like you said, Karr, as well.
Yeah.
So, what is the purpose? Is it the adrenalized blood? Is that why they're taking their faces off?
Yeah.
Yes, because basically by torturing them, the victims, and causing the maximum amount of fear and pain, they're forcing the adrenaline gland to excrete adrenaline into the blood, thus creating or generating adrenochrome, which to them is very physically and biologically yummy or tasty. And then also they have a term called loosh and loosh harvesting. And loosh is a psychic and energetic and spiritual energy, whether it's pain and suffering or people cheering their heads off at sporting events. Right, Karr?
Yeah, basically, yeah, you're correct there. With the the spiritual energy as well is like they feed off of fear, they feed off of negativity, suffering, pain. Yeah, to them it's like a it's like it's like a drug.
Now, can you describe your own people's history with the Alpha Dracos? Because we not only do we want to draw a clear line of delineation, we want to give people more of a history, a galactic understanding. And at the Montauk Project with some of the survivors, they can attest to one of the Vril people, your people, being enslaved during the project. I understand he's no longer with us, so maybe you could go into. First, how have your people suffered at the hands of the Draco thus far?
I was told, that when I was awakening, it's Karr, by the way. Sorry. When I was awakening, I was told that I had a brother. Back home, and that I was told that he was killed.
And was this back on a home world, a planet, a colony? Where was this at?
On the home world.
Okay. And then were the Draco and your people, they are aware of each other out there in space, and your people are subjected to their brutality, it sounds like. Can you, not just in terms of your own personal starseed origin, but can you speak to just your people in general? Like, when were your people originally part of the Draco, and did they split off?
Sorry, helicopter going over.
No worries. Oh yeah, and this happens a lot with Nigel during our conversations. We get a lot of black helicopter activity, literally.
Literally.
But Nigel,
a lot of disruption happens, I bet. Yeah.
And they wave beam.
And it also makes me feel a bit nauseous.
Right. They might be wave pulsing him. Oh, so James has a message.
Sorry.
James, go ahead. While you recover, we send you some shielding energy, Karr. James, you have a message the Reptilian sent. Thank you, James Rink, for all you do on behalf of all beings, especially those of us that have no voice. The Reptilian Rebellion of Light and Science. Excellent. Now, Nigel, does that grouping, the Reptilian Rebellion of Light and Science, does that ring a bell to you? And could you speak more to them?
Yeah, basically, it's as this progresses, we find each other and strengthen our numbers, and the group gets stronger each time we bond with another.
So these different reptilian groups, like even within the Draco, they're joining over with.
Oh yeah, there are other factions. Like as we were saying before, there's yin and yang, good and bad in all species.
And can you speak more to that, to the schisms apparently happening where I've read about or heard about in the Draco Empire right now, in terms of power schisms, discrepancies over or disagreements over the black goo playing a role in their own civilizations?
Yeah, there is truth to it. I mean, previously we were talking, me, you, if you remember, Brian, and Rick McKenzie. And we were discussing about the black goo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, what if you could share with our audience, please, the nature of the black goo, and it, what is it to the Draco Empire, and what is it to your Vril society?
To them, it's like it's like a wealth thing. It's like they and then basically whoever has this stuff, it's like it affects them in a negative way.
Okay, and it affects them in a negative way because it's attached to a negative AI consciousness that's interdimensional somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, and this black goo, apparently it's a real nightmare because it played a huge role in the Orion Wars, which the Star Wars universe is really based on. And can you speak more to that, Karr?
Yeah, I mean that is true. It's like when there was that episode of Star Trek. Even if you remember, there was an episode where they go onto this planet and there's like a conscious black tar-like substance, which is actually a being.
Yeah, it was a Next Generation.
Yeah, that's
episode.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah, and it didn't seem to be benevolent, and it just wanted to assimilate them. And I forget if it could be reasoned with or not.
Well, as you saw on, this black goo, it's as you saw on there, it thought, that it was smarter than everybody else, and it didn't want to listen to us lowly humans or whatever. They called them all,
biologicals.
Yeah, biologicals. That's it.
Now, Jessica,
so the humans are the biologicals, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the humans are the biologicals because we hear about the alien. We think that we call the aliens the biologicals. The non-human biologics is what they were calling them during the Senate hearing or the congressional hearing. Now, I would like to make one point is that I've been seeing a lot of famous people in Hollywood, or let's just say like Greta Thunberg, for instance, on the cover of magazines with black goo all over her face, and Billie Eilish with black goo coming out of her eyes. This is a thing that the elite, are really focused on at the moment. It's a hot topic, the black goo, and they're putting it in our faces, to put it out there to the public as to what it is, and it's almost a slap in our faces because this is something that could potentially destroy everything we have here on this planet. Yeah.
Nigel, could you speak to the presence of black goo on Earth and what your people know about it? Are they? Because I know that there's been sightings, at least, of black goo, and there's videos of it, and then there's all the soft disclosure and all the movies and comics and videos like Jessica's sighting here.
Yeah, basically, it's like this stuff has got to be controlled, otherwise, it's just gonna take over everything.
And how bad is it right now? How prevalent is it?
It's not to fear point or anything. It's it's just sort of like making its presence known, sort of thing, And then as Jess just said, it's like a slap in the face.
Okay, so it's like the elites, they know about it, and they
know that we know.
And then they're making fun of us, and then they're making music videos.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a great question from Christy Campbell. Nigel, are you able to push out AI or black goo interference? How do we get rid of it in the body?
That's a good question, Christy. Basically, keeping yourself pure, keeping your spirits up, keeping your positive energy, your chi. If you can, burn some incense, meditate, do anything and everything that you can positively do in a positive way. Be grateful for every day. Live your life happy, and just give out positive energy. That's the key. Positive energy. It doesn't like it.
I've heard that before. Have you ever remote viewed it,
Good
Jessica?
vibes. The black goo, I have not, but that would be an excellent target. I will put that on the list for Barry Littleton to give me. I'm currently working on several targets right now, and I don't even know what they are, by the way, because they're all blind. But that would be a great one to go into the mix. Is the black goo? It's potentially devastating for the entire planet. So something to look into. I try to keep things positive. I've been remote viewing really. That one last week with the aliens in Peru was pretty dark. So trying to, when I need a dark one, we'll throw that one in there.
Well, Karr, can you share
yeah.
with us any good news? Anything about treaties and things like
Good
that?
news.
Please give us some good news.
Yeah, good news. Good news is we've got a beautiful cat here.
Ghosty.
Say hi to Ghosty. Ghosty, you're going to be famous. Come on.
Hey, Ghosty.
Ghosty. Hey.
See,
Hello,
and
Ghosty.
that seems to be a very common thing amongst starseeds. But Nigel, we were discussing earlier. I know there's one thing that it's near and dear to me. My understanding is that as of 2019, there was a Star Nations contract or agreement to not be seen until 2019. That agreement finally expired, and that's partly why we're seeing so many Bigfoot and UFOs in the sky and other activity and things like that. And dogmen.
Exactly. You know,
Okay.
it's great that you mentioned this because, I mean, I was actually told this when I had, you know, my first experience way back in 2014. My first sighting and experience, basically, and contact. I was actually told this that come 2019, that is the time when energy is going to be at its peak. That you know, this is the time where I have to get my voice to be heard, get out there as much as possible, do as many possible podcasts and public speaking wherever I can, whatever I can do. I've got to get out there and do it.
So that's interesting because there's this whole starseed awakening. So many people seem to have woken up post 2000, 9/11, 2001, and then it seems like a lot of this.
Too.
I think me personally, yeah, I was 2008-ish about, I'd say.
I was 2020 for sure, something like that.
Wow.
And there you go with the numerology.
Thank you, Long Island Bigfoot.
Yeah,
and there you go with the numerology, Jess, with the 2020. Have you had a lot of that where you every damn time I seem to look at my phone, it's like 2020 or 1010 or 0909 or crazy.
1111.
Yeah.
It is. Thank you, Long Island Bigfoot, for that super sticker. I appreciate that. And also, Amy's got a 999 here. Thank you, Amy, for that super chat as well. I appreciate that. Thank you. 999. It's all these repeating numbers.
Just don't turn 999
I love
on.
it.
Just don't turn 999 upside down, because otherwise you've got 666, and we don't want that number.
Well, even then, that's a number of carbon. So, take it for what you will. But Nigel, back to the messages and the increased sightings and the prime directive. Can you speak to what the Vril, what they can and cannot do at this time? Like,
right. Well, at this moment in time, basically, we're allowed to obviously do things like we're doing now, like the getting ourselves out in public on the podcasts, and what we're not allowed to do is obviously we're not allowed to disclose our homeworld location due to security measures. Because of fear of retribution. You know what I mean. And
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you about that, Nigel, because it sounds like you've got multiple worlds. Because if the Draco were already on the world where, unfortunately, they killed your brother, doesn't that mean they already know where that one world is? At least
yeah, no, we had to evacuate that world.
I see. So you're right. Okay, so
So we
now
had to basically start over.
because it sounds like it got a little hot and heavy if the Dracos are there harming the inhabitants.
You don't know that. You don't know half of it.
Really, what does a Draco reptilian invasion look like on a planet like that, if you will?
Well, if you imagine, sorry, I'm getting distracted by aircraft noise again. But this time it's not a chopper, thank God. No, basically, what it looked like was, if you imagine what World War II was like, imagine that about 20,000 times.
Okay. So what I believe Nigel and Karr here is referring to in the audience is Hitler and his German forces pioneered something called the Blitzkrieg, the lightning strike, and that was where they'd hit you with airplanes and bombs and artillery and then tanks and then troops, all at once, while they're shelling you from the sea. And it would just so absolutely run you over on the first wave that you had no chance to resist. And so if it was like that times thousands, that doesn't sound good.
It was not good.
That's terrifying.
Luckily enough, we had an escape plan in because we knew this was going to happen, and they thought they were just going to come in, wipe us all out, and gone, But we had a contingency plan in place, and we got the heck out of there.
Because that's how humanity ended up on Earth in the first place. We were chased out of Lyra to like Vega and Sirius to have some of us end up here ultimately. Oh, so Beth here, her son almost got abducted 10 nights ago. He shouted, "I do not consent." The light dropped him back in his bed. He could feel something crawling around him. So Beth, to your son, good job, bravo. He did the exact right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nigel, can you speak to who might have tried abducting Beth's son there? Can your friends sense that?
Hi, it's Karr.
Hi, Gar.
Hi, how are you guys doing?
We're good. We're trying to
Doing well.
inform our viewers about the current state of affairs regarding the Draco liberating Earth and your own people.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Basically, we with the current situation with the Dracos is that they, at the moment, are not knowing what's hidden, and we're all doing such strong work at the moment that even you guys down on the ground there, you guys are doing great work. All the Starseeds, the light workers, the positive vibes and energy that are coming off of everybody that's awake is astronomical. It's like off the scale, and they basically, how to put it in a polite human way, they are scared out of their pants.
And that's something that doesn't sound like they're very used to, are they? When was the last time that's ever happened?
I don't think it has ever happened.
And we're talking an empire spanning thousands of years, millions of years. How old are these guys, their empire?
Oh, these guys are going back to AD. I don't know. I can't remember how, but we're going back ADs.
Like eons, you mean? Like
Eons. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Okay, eons. So at least thousands and thousands of years. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. And Gar, while we have you here, and you've got kind of the mic, if you will, what kind of messages do you want to share with the world from your people specifically?
Specifically, to humanity, I want to say that don't be fooled by what people tell you about, all reptilians being human flesh eating, blood drinking, child molesting, sorry, pardon my language there. Oops.
And I've got a picture of you right up here on the screen, and I'm hoping, is that an accurate depiction of your people in more of a less technological environment?
Yeah, that would be one of our ancestors.
I see. Excellent. Okay. And then do you see humanity being like on the path that we're on? Do you see us being free of our enslavement, as it were, under the Dracos and their cabal little puppets down here?
Most definitely. I want this to say to humanity that, guys, there may be days where these are still trying to put fear into us, to give us doubts, to give us fear, give us basically bad times, even on TV, on radio, on media. They're still trying to fight their way, even though they know they're losing. They're still clawing out to us all. Don't fall for it, please. Be positive, be light, be bright, be good, be happy. Happiness. They don't like happiness.
That's right.
Be like Jessica, be upbeat.
Thank you. I try. I try to keep everybody laughing. Okay. So that's my job. These really strange subjects when it comes to such a dark time. We are in such a dark time in humanity here, and so if some of us can be a bright light, that's what we're here for. Absolutely. Beth, thank you for that super chat, by the way. Thank you. You brightened my day for sure. Thank you.
And thanks for joining us,
yes.
Beth.
Yeah, basically be a beacon.
Yep.
A beacon of light.
Oh, great. Anna was also with us on the Mod
Anna's
Talk
here.
today. Yeah, she says,
hello,
my
Anna.
understanding is there are changes in the universe. It is a big movement across the galaxies. How does it affect the reptilians world? Or, liberation of all the human race. So maybe if Gar, rather, can you speak to how the effort for liberating humanity here on Earth affects you, the Vril, and all the other races out there? How does this affect the balance of power intergalactically, if you will?
Well, basically, with us and with other races, it means that we don't have to be in hiding anymore. It means that we can actually get out there and meet you guys and be good friends and live a happy, united life. Finally.
Now, everyone is always skeptical about dates and times, and we all, it's a huge pet peeve of us in the truther community. Oh, we're going to have the quantum financial system 5 years ago. Great. But do you have any clarity on just no one's holding you to a hard prediction, but do you guys have any thoughts on when we'll be getting med beds in our Star Trek future and we can have open contact?
Well, we're looking at as previously, Mr. Brian, I've mentioned you this before, that we told you it was going to be roughly between the 25 to 30.
Okay. And that, you know, and a lot of people in these communities, if you will, these dates, 2030 for me, I personally, the audience, I'd say grow your own food, get prepped up, find inland high ground, find your people. And if you can make it to 2030, good for you. It's going to be a rough ride. And then get ready for liberated humanity and rebuilding our new Star Trek future. That's my personal, if anyone's to ask, analysis. Thanks, Patricia.
And Mr. Brian, yeah, I can confirm with you that is you've summed it up correctly there. You know, I mean, as the advice, follow Mr. Brian's advice there. Which is one thing I will say is that
Brian's a prepper, so am I. We're ready for anything.
Which is one thing I will have to say as Karr is I've got to get out this little island.
Right, because our friend Nigel here / Karr.
I'm in the UK.
He's on the UK. He's on a big island, and it's going to become over swamped. So
it's a big island across the pond. Yes.
Yeah. You know, I mean, what is it now? It's like 6:42 p.m. over here.
Well, we're not talking late in terms of the time on the clock. We're talking about late in terms of potential changes and level rise, not because of climate change and that stuff, carbon emissions, but other things. Now Anna here is saying, my understanding is the Anunnaki were destroyed, the highest gods of the Anunnaki as well, by Tomakis. Can you confirm that, please? So Anna's asking, were the Anunnaki destroyed, or are they still around? Because I've heard of them called the Shah Ami, and I've heard they're still around. Maybe not in power they were, but they're still around.
Yeah, you know, this is correct. They are still around. You know, I mean, this is another of the Draco's tricks, is to like make out that, you know, all the ancients, the good ones and everything. Yeah, you know, we toasted them. No, you haven't.
Okay.
Hell no.
Well, actually, Nigel, it seems like on Earth, at least, there's kind of mixed feelings about the Anunnaki, because our understanding, and it's full or soft disclosure in movies like Stargate, you know, they were at least initially using humanity to harvest gold for them. And so it's not exactly the most.
Yeah, but as I say, that, you know, there are the good fractions as well. You know, as with us, with other races, you know, it's. You know,
they weren't all enslaving humanity to mine gold. Some of them may have had our best interests in mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I got to say something about the gold mines to this day. There's a connection between Sasquatch and gold mines. And some of us believe that the Sasquatch are there to guard the gold mines, which I find interesting. I don't know if that has any connection to the Anunnaki whatsoever, but there is a connection there with Sasquatch and gold mines.
Oh, by the way, you just had your first glitch.
Yeah. Well, Karr, can you speak to?
I'm glitchy.
Karr, do the Vril people have any relationship, any friendly contact with the Sasquatch?
Well, I will say that Karr has. So you might better speak to him actually about this.
Okay. And then Thomas Robinson is asking, Jessica, are the reptilians working with the gray aliens in abductions of human beings?
That would be a question for Karr or Gar, I believe.
Sorry.
Karr, can you answer this? Can you answer this? Are the reptilians working with gray aliens in abducting human beings?
The Dracos are the ones that have been like basically doing that, but we do have greys as well, because they do work for us, but not in a negative way as regards to the Draco's ones.
Right. So I understand the gray aliens.
Our one,
Thomas, real quick. Sorry, Karr, but real quick, Thomas, to answer your question, the grays are they're very commonly spread throughout the universe in terms of being worker bees, and so it's not wouldn't be uncommon to have gray aliens working under the Draco to do abductions, and also gray aliens working under the Vril as kind of helping them run their ships, if you would.
yeah, basically that's correct. We have them for helping out around the ship, for assisting different operations, like for example maintenance, hydroponics, to help with some of the navigation work, to help with some of the defense. Yes, even though we're a peaceful race, we still do have to have defensive equipment.
Yeah, because your ships, you're explaining how on their like city-sized ships, they're extremely large. The instrumentation is all lit up, where you place your hands on a panel and you telepathically bond with the ship and its systems. So let's say you're piloting the city-sized craft. Mentally, the pilot bonds in a way that they feel as if they are the ship. It's their body flying around space or a planetary environment, underwater, etc., which gives them the best ability to maneuver and act naturally. But contact with these pads is necessary to establish the bond with the instrumentation. Is that correct, Karr?
We just all glitched then.
Oh, I was talking about the
Stop trying to get to it. They're trying to get to us.
Oh, yeah, that's common. We were talking about how on their city-sized craft with their lit-up instrumentation, you bond telepathically with it, but you do have to at least first physically contact the pads. Is that correct? And then
That's correct.
Once you make contact with those pads as a Vril commander or pilot, how long does it take to establish contact with the ship, if you would?
Instantaneously.
Wow. Okay. And basically the propulsion system, it's a large electromagnetic power generator involving crystals, just like Star Trek, except these crystals are as tall as 2.5-story buildings. And you've got banks of them with like the crystals lined up next to each other. What color are the crystals?
They're like a purpley, like what's that purple gem you have on Earth?
Amethyst.
Yeah, like an amethyst color.
Okay, and then if it's like amethyst, is this similar to like the red crystals of Atlantis that we keep hearing about, or are those a different technology?
Yeah, it's based on that.
Okay, and so you've got basically large arrays of these with warmth emanating from them in a static charge field, and they're enclosed behind a force field barrier. And then you've got about 10 of these arrays on both sides of the ship, port and starboard.
Yep.
Okay, and then you've got gaps and walkways between the banks of these crystal arrays. And then you've got plasma drive for local thrust movement, and then anti-gravity to get everywhere else in a hurry. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Now, if I may, in terms of you probably don't want to tell us too much in terms of like your military capabilities, but I mean, if a Draco craft, if they were to attack you, how do you repel them? Is it alone, or is it because you have such an alliance, a Starfleet, if you will, of other races and species, everyone helping each other to then stand together? Is that how it works?
It's power through numbers.
Power through numbers. Because Gina's asking, how many reptilian races are there? And why do some of them generate fear in us humans?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that is very good. I can answer that by saying basically there are many different races of reptilians. And it's basically the only one that's causing the fear is the Dracos. Or as they're properly named, the Alpha Dracos. Apologies for that.
No worries.
ambulance. But yes, it's basically the Alpha Draconians that have been spreading fear, been spreading lies, been spreading corruption. Basically, everybody out there who's awake and everything must know of the 3 words, which is buy, consume, and obey.
Right,
Oh,
because
yeah.
by keeping us at a lower vibration, they prevent us from ascending, awakening our abilities, unlocking our galactic DNA heritage, and thus we will break free from them. And they don't want that, so they're holding us back.
Exactly, and within TV and radio and media as well. I mean, if you watch an innocent kids cartoon, you think your kid is, for those of you mums out there and parents, be careful of what your kids watch. You may think, yeah, they're watching an innocent little kids cartoon, when they're 4 or 5 or 6 or 7. Be very careful. There are hidden messages in there, and also programming.
So we got a couple of questions and comments on that. One of them is, what are the traits or main traits of benevolent reptilians, and their race names and qualities or ways of assisting humanity?
Right. Well, we've got the positive thrill. There are the not cryptids. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a.
Just so the audience knows, it's kind of mentally taxing on Nigel for long periods of time to establish communication. And then if they're flying overhead and beaming them at the same time, it's probably not helping. But so let me jump in here. One thing, Gina, is from in terms of how many reptilian species are there out there, there's probably uncountable, if you will. Because think about different reptilian species intermingling and then breaking away from each other, and then spreading out, and then intermingling and breaking away on different planets and worlds and timelines. How many species are there? And I think, like Nigel's pointed out already, the vast majority of them are going to be benevolent. It's really the Alpha Dracos and their Orion Empire coming out of Thuban is their main star, I believe. In terms of how they're assisting humanity, I think it seems like they're doing it the way all the other ETs are, who are positive. They're having starseeds incarnate here in human bodies, human form, to raise the collective vibration here and change things from the inside instead of from the outside, and thus not violate the prime directive as shown in Star Trek. But it turns out, if you see the fully written out prime directive, apparently from what is it? The Federation of Worlds or Planets or whatnot. I forget which one.
Federation of Worlds.
Thank you. Because they're different. They're 2 different entities, guys. The prime directive is very long and fleshed out, much more than what you see on Star Trek, even.
Indeed.
Wow. So things we've seen on Star Trek are actually real, huh?
Oh yeah.
Real life.
Yeah.
Cool.
And other shows. It's like I don't know if you guys remember the Andromeda series.
I don't, but I remember V that Danny's bringing up, and yeah, V, boy, that struck a chord with everyone in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And even back in the day, you had on TV, you had Close Encounters of the Third Kind, of course, the classic.
Yes. We have another question in the chat. Trista was asking, are reptilian shapeshifters?
Funny you should say that, actually. I was just talking previously about this before we came on air.
Right.
Yeah.
Like someone was trolling Nigel and saying, I'm only going to believe that you're a reptilian starseed or contactee if you can shapeshift for me right now on the camera. And in a nutshell, there's a difference between reptilian souls and beings who incarnate in a human body, and no, they're not going to be able to shapeshift most likely, unless they're more the darker ones in the middle of rituals. And then there's other aspects of that are more occult and spiritual and metaphysical. And then you're going to have shapeshifters who are Draco. And are they doing it, Nigel, with technology? Or are they doing it because they have the psionic power to be able to shapeshift?
Yeah, that's correct.
This is the latter.
Yeah.
They don't need technology.
No.
But then, having said that, there do seem to be some who are using holograms to.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are both factors in there.
Okay, so I think that's why a lot of people can get easily confused. Is you've got ones you can shapeshift, ones you can't, and then ones you can, and then they might be using holographic technology on top of it or not.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you've seen these like videos and stuff of celebrities where, or even like, you know, military personnel or whatever on the news, and you'll suddenly see their face change.
Yeah. So Warrior of Light, how do we
their
know
pupils.
the difference? Right. You get the pupils. Sometimes a hologram malfunctions and it'll be like video artifacts only over their face, but not like everything else is crisp and perfectly clear with their face. That's a giveaway. A lot of times it seems like on those newscasts, when their eyes do go that reptilian, and some of them might not be reptilian, some of them I understand are Nordics, might have eye slits like that.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. It's when they might be talking about something that kind of gets them a little excited, like talking about mass death and destruction. Like, ooh, there was an earthquake and 1,000 people are crushed, and like you'll see an eye slit. That might be why.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we're getting you. Yeah, you know, it's like they're looking at you like down the camera, like, yeah, we're coming for you.
Now, Nigel, is anyone in Hollywood, any of the actors, are they Draco reptilians, or are they just humans that are doing rituals and they've got some kind of reptilian bond, but they're not really reptilians? Like, what's going on there?
Well, basically, yeah, they're under a contract with the Dracos, you know, because they're the Dracos are the ones that are running the music industry, the film and television. Yeah, the media, like Mr. Zuckerberg.
So they're pushing the Satanism and what I call they're the loser fairy.
I got that from Brian, actually, Jess, the Mr. Zuckerberg.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's funny.
No love lost there.
No love. No, we're broadcasting there right now, so we love it. We love.
That's right.
We love you, really, Mr. Zuckerberg. Yeah, you know.
Don't censor us, please. No names for the band. Thank you so much.
I've just come out. I've just come out of a 6-day ban on Facebook jail.
Oh gosh, let's don't get me in one.
My account got restricted for 6 days for commenting.
Now there's a fake Nigel Impey account, just so you know, but I'm mutual friends.
Yeah, that's my old account, which actually got hacked.
Right, but this one's your real account right now. This current one. And then this is what one of the Vril people looks like in full regalia. Can you speak to what Karr or Nigel, what kind of regalia is that? What does this symbolize? Because I does everyone on your home world, or do they walk around like that, or is this more of an upscale bling type?
Yeah, this is basically my attire, which is ambassador attire.
That's ambassador level attire, gold, excellent.
But not in gold, as in physical gold.
Right, the color gold.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, why not? Is gold rare for your people? Is it hard, or just that's not practical?
Well, we don't rely on currency of any kind.
Do you have replicators? Do you have like Star Trek technology, or are you more of a agricultural world type thing? You have to defend.
We have both. We do have replicators as well for being able to produce, synthesize our own seeds, and stuff that we can't get on off world, like you were mentioning earlier, man. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I've already spoken with Brian about this, that our crew love it. Our crew loved Earth pomegranate.
They wanted to know what they could grow aboard their ship, and they were asking about this particular fruit. I immediately knew it was pomegranates. because they have because you guys have the ability to have greenhouses and you have time travel technology, you're able to take pomegranate seeds and then using time technology, you already have a grove, I understand, of 10 trees. Have you added or subtracted to that number?
It's now more like 30.
Yeah, the crew really loves the fruit.
Indeed.
Now, do you guys have any capes? That is what Brown Dwarf in our audience is asking in terms of regalia
Yes.
or gear.
No, we don't actually have capes or anything like that. It's just, because as far as regalia, I mean, the only people that have the regalia is, the ambassadors for, like myself for Earth Relations. We just take us as you find us, guys.
And then, are you guys growing any weed up there? Because the idea of stoned reptiles in space or under
Brown Dwarf
has an
comes
appeal.
in clutch with the question.
Thanks,
He's
Brown
got to
Dwarf.
ask.
Well,
Well,
that's
Brown.
a question I wanted to know. I never asked actually.
It's a good question.
It's a good
well,
question.
you've seen it firsthand, Brian.
Well, I know that certain reptilians down here on Earth, ground crew, if you will. But how about space crew?
Yeah, they're spaced out, man.
Okay, so they will smoke occasionally.
Spaced out.
All right, that answers our question. I think that's a strong
That's
yes,
awesome.
Brown Dwarf.
Do you know what?
Yes, and so
I've got to say this about that subject that there may be people on here that nobody should be smoking weed. It's bad for you. It leads onto this. It leads onto harder substances. Heck no. I mean, come on. The natives were smoking the peace pipe from way back, so
Right. Well, Jessica, I want to thank you for the time to have Nigel and I, Karr, on your show.
Yep.
As our ambassador of the Vril to humanity, and I'm an assistant ambassador. And anyone who wants to reach me, I'm Brian Tseng, the Solar Bee. It's my name, Brian_Tseng at yahoo.com. And feel free to find me online and friend me. And because we're organizing the Full Disclosure Now movement. Humanity needs to know what's really going on in our intergalactic future that we have before us, and not just water torture, drip, drip, drip. Oh yeah, ETs exist, and we've got a craft in our parking lot somewhere underground.
And I would like to add just something before we depart. If anybody would like to become friends and chat online on Facebook, you can find me under the profile Nigel Impey. And I'll be more than happy to speak with you and, in a good, positive way. I don't want any marketing or any scams, though, please.
Right. No, we got it. Exactly. No scams.
My audience does not do scams. Okay. So they're gonna be searching for you and finding you on Facebook, everybody. Thank you all so much. Nigel, it has been such an honor to have you here. And Brian, thank you so much for co-hosting with me today. You knocked it out the park, and I want to thank Karr and Garr as well for being here and answering our questions today, and just spreading the love and the light, and giving us a positive message today, because the world needs that so much.
Exactly. Well, we would like to thank you guys for having us, and both myself and Tar, who's very busy, that's why he couldn't be here. Karr and Nigel, we all appreciate everything everyone's doing on Earth to keep the spirits up, keep the energy going, and keep it up, guys.
Right,
hey, we're here. We're absolutely we're going to keep it going. We're keeping the ball moving, and we're going forward all the way. Okay. And we're in it together. We're in this together, everybody. So I want to thank everybody for being here today, you guys. Thank y'all so much to all of my moderators, to everybody who gave a super sticker and a super chat. It is so humbling and so appreciated. And I want you guys to please come back and hang out with me tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a remote viewing show. And then, of course, I'm on Spaced Out Radio this weekend, Saturday and Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Again, Brian, thank you so much. You guys go find Brian Tseng, social media, his email address, and Nigel Impey. Okay, Nigel, thank you. Please come back and see us again soon. All right.
Well, I'll be more than
everybody.
happy to.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Nigel. All right. Thanks, Brian.
Take care.
All right. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Bye, y'all.
Bye.